Hi friends, thank you for joining me again today for another story. Today's story that we're going to be reading is Score One for the Sloth by Helen Lester. Howdy hum! It's another day at Sleepy Valley Sloth School and all those sloths were just hanging around. Once in a while, the teacher would remember his job and wake up with a lesson. All right now, he'd well, everybody yawn. Or keep those snores coming. Or, all together students, roll over. Most of the time though, the class just slept. It was the sloth thing. They were content in their slothfulness. Occasionally, the principal would drop in and say, "Don't mean to wake you, but I've never in my life seen such a lazy bunch of louts. Keep up the good whatever." And the sloths would yawn and smile in their slumber. The only movement of the day came at lunch hour. Actually, it was lunch 3 hours, when the sloths would amble around the slotharium, taking a berry at a time, slowly chewing each one ever so carefully. After all that exhaustion, it was nap time again. Then the students were off to study hall, and then it was time for recess. The dismissal bell rang at 3 o'clock sharp each day, but it was dusk before the sloths left school, because no one wanted to get up to open the door. "I don't want to," moaned one. "I did it last time," yawned another. "My legs hurt," mumbled a third. So everyone was happy to go back to sleep until 6 o'clock, when the custodian swept them out and they rolled home. One day a new sloth came to school. She had just moved into the area and her name was Sparky. Sparky was perky. She was full of life and energy and vitality. She was a mover and a shaker and a go-getter. And by mid-morning, she was driving the other sloths crazy. "Let's read a story. Hey, we could use a little music. Want to build a castle? Anyone for maths? How about some poetry?" The lazy sloths shook Sparky off, nudged her with their elbows, and shoved her with their toes. So Sparky sat in the corner, fidgeting on her first day of school, feeling very unwelcomed. "What a bunch of bores," she sighed to herself. Then she looked up, and there was a real boar at the door with a clipboard. From its outfit, it was clear that it was a wild boar. The boar announced, "I am an official representative of SOS. That is the Society for Organizing Sameness. Wait till you hear what we know about you. It says here in my report that Sleepy Valley Sloth School is a disgrace to the entire mammal district." The boar was getting wound up by now and began pacing wildly, shaking trees and whacking some sloths with the clipboard and poking others with a pencil until everybody was awake. "Want to know your scores?" Without waiting for an answer, the wild boar boomed. "Reading, dreadful. Music, the absolute worst. Math, forget it. Poetry, off, below, and way under the charts." "Thus I am here from SOS to close the school. The sloths gasped. Their school? Their happy, peaceful sloth school? They had to do something. They had never done anything. Only one sloth could help them now. The mover, the shaker, the go-getter. All eyes turned with hope to Sparky. Sparky addressed the wild boar. You mentioned reading. Reading, of course. She passed out the books, and the sloths, being unsure of what the books were, sandwiches, began munching. Reading, she whispered, not eating. She laid a book over each sloth. The sloths looked like they were reading. Music. Sparky whipped her violin out of her knapsack and played Flight of the Bumblebee, while the other sloths snored. Zzz, very realistic. Block building. The sloths were well past their nap time, but they threw themselves onto the task. Occasionally, a sloth in need of a quick snooze would get sandwiched, but that made the tower all the higher. By now, the sloths were thoroughly exhausted. Sparky pressed on. Math? What's 2 plus 2? The answer came in a groan. Forget it. Luckily, the wild boar had only heard the 4 and not the get it, so he didn't get it. And the last subject you mentioned, said Sparky, was poetry. Off below and way under the chart, if you please, we will recite The Way of the Sloth. Of course, all the sloths everywhere had been brought up with this poem. They know it since they were babies. They could recite it in their sleep, so they did. The way of the sloth is gentle and kind. It hangs from the tree with nothing in mind. It doesn't make faces or throw fits or hollow. It never gets heated under the collar. It's surely no bother that it's easy to see. It just hangs around, content to be. That stated, the wild boar was impressed. Most impressive. Some nitwit must have confused your school with another. Sleepy Valley Sloth School is a credit to the entire mammal district. Off stalked the wild boar with the clipboard, and everyone, especially Sparky, settled in for a peaceful, well-deserved, and very long nap. Thank you for joining me, friends, and I'll see you again for another story. Bye.